Hello, folks. Welcome to my channel. I have Fasik Bamla with me. Today, we'll be discussing about interview tips and tricks. I know most of people are since it's the time of the layoffs, and most of the people are gearing up for the new interviews in the new companies, and there are new things that have been added to the interviews these times. Like previously it was purely if you are a manual tester, you had to give certain uh, interview based on your skill sets. But now since major of the things that have been made as a part of the interview, like coding challenges, and then the technical rounds, and then there are certain technical architectural round as well in the test automation things. Also various interviewers discuss about automation frameworks as well. So in this video, we'll be talking about how we can overcome all those things, how we can be a good interviewer, how we can focus on the interview and provide to give us our overviews on the interviews, and also make it a successful as a part of the interview session. So there are a bit of things that we can follow when it comes to interview. First and foremost, we'll start with the experience sharing that we faced in our time when we were gearing up for an interview to appear for various companies that we worked previously. So the first and the foremost and the most important thing in the part of interview is, Vasik, you can interrupt in between if you think if any of the points that I mentioned doesn't make any sense or does require more elaboration on the side. So the first and the most
Sure.
important thing that you need to make sure when you are appearing for an interview is know yourself well. Yes, you are hearing it right. You need to know yourself very well, like what you are, what are your core skill sets, what are your core qualities that you can discuss. Because most of the time I have seen the first question that comes to us is, tell me something about yourself. Right, Vasik? Yeah.
Yes.
And 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 in this question, most of the people become nervous. Like when they had to talk about themselves, they become nervous and start giving answers, vague answers, basically related to, like, my name is so and so, I've been working with this, I have this much people in my family, I've been working as a test automation engineer, worked on different concepts, my product is this, my product is that, blah 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 blah. So it is not a kind of thing that the person or the interviewer wants to know from you. He wants to know about yourself. So be prepared to answer it maybe in 3 or 4 lines. You can mention like what your name is, what are your qualifications, what are your total years of experience, what all things that you worked upon, what are the core skill set that you have to offer, what core skills that you possess, what all things or frameworks or automation tools that you know, and what all things or what are the problem statements that you have solved previously. And that should be not expanding more than extending more than like 2 minutes. If you go beyond that, it may be a kind of a boring chat that can happen. And most importantly, if you answer about yourself, make sure that you are very much confident when you are answering such concepts. And and the other point that we can talk about is, uh, I can narrate one story, basically a story which uh, normally I was a part of in my career span when I went for an interview. I remember 3 4 years back I went for an interview in on one of the top companies in Mumbai, basically an IT company. And there I saw one girl who was sitting in the corner of the sofa and was reciting something. She was just going on repeating and revising the book she had with her, and till the last moment when suddenly her name was called, she got up and started moving. And before that, I approached her before her name was called. I saw that girl for around 10 15 minutes. She was in her own world. She went on repeating the notes, revising the notes, like we do a kind of ratifying all the things, right? And when I went towards her, and then I asked her, like, are you here for an interview? She said yes. And I was, to my surprise, I saw that she was carrying one software testing book. And I asked her whether if she was a fresher or she was an experienced person. She mentioned that she is just a beginner. She cleared some certifications related to software testing from one of the institute, and then she is appearing for the interview for the first time. And I tried to make her calm by telling that you did not worry about the things. Be calm. Don't be nervous about the things. Don't think about the future. Like, think what you are right now, what quality you possess, and what all things did you learn. Because if you keep on revising till the last moment, maybe chances are you will just spill the beans when you appear for the interview. And when you come face to face with the interviewer, your body language might not be that confident that as it should appear for that interview. And revising that till the last moment also gives you a kind of a sense of fear or a worry, like whether you will be able to clear that interview or not, and so sorts, and all such sorts of questions come to your mind. Now, can you share your experience, Vasik, around, like, did you face some kind of things previously in your career span as well?
So in my career span, if I talk about my experience as an interviewee, where I've gone to give an interview, I have faced such instances where I was, getting nervous at the last moment. So there was like a funny instance I can say. Like initially, when I was just were starting my career in around 2006 or seven, at that time I went for a developer interview. So for that, they asked me to write a stored procedure for SQL, and the nervousness level was such that I just wrote create procedure name, and said I don't know anything.
So, how did you overcome that? Like, what was your next things that you did over there?
So basically, we learn from our mistakes. So next, I got opportunity with testing, and as and when as soon as I got more experience, even more knowledge about the field, and I got more confident about the skills which I know. Then I was more confident in answering those questions. So the first point, which I would like to highlight here is that you should be confident about the skills you know. Whatever tools you know, you should be confident about that. So that is the thing which gives us confidence in the interview.
Cool, cool. That was a very nice experience sharing from Vasik. I also remember one of my experience as an interviewee where I went for an interview. It was a first interview that I faced with regards to software testing. Basically, in 2007, I cleared my Bachelor of Commerce degree, and after that, I went for an interview. I didn't knew about that it was a software testing or an IT company. I was working as a senior accountant in 2007 in one of the construction company in Mumbai. I got an opportunity from one of my friend, and he told me that there's an interview for a auditor. I thought it was a kind of a accounts auditor. I prepared my CV and went in there, and to my surprise, like, that company was based on the stock trading and everything. Now, that the person over there who he took a look at my CV, and since I was a fresher, he asked me questions related to accountancy and tax audit. And to my surprise, like, I knew each and nook and every corner about the accountancy aspect. So I told him about the direct taxes, indirect taxes, VAT. There was a time when the VAT tax was in presence. So I told him about VAT, what are the income tax slabs, and so on. And after that, when I got a chance to work there, I got a offer letter as a trainee. My stipend was like around 4-5 thousand more than what I used to get in accountancy field. And I was very much happy, like, I got a job as an auditor and I'll be doing auditing and so on. But when I went into the office for the first day, I saw a whole type of a new world that was trying to welcome me there. There were lots of computer in the offices out there, and some people were stuck on some of the machines with their headphones on, and some were working on some kind of things out there on their machines, computers. Some code was running automatically on the screens, and I was very much surprised, like, what I'm supposed to do here. I'm here to, like, do kind of audit. I was occupied with lots of books and stuff of that, because at that time that bookkeeping system, everything had a different kinds of register, red and blue and so on, and we had to pass journal entries. And I was very much surprised, like, how can I do a kind of accountancy? Then I thought, like, might be Tele or some other software that I had to use. But when I went ahead and sat on my chair, I saw a whole kind of different thing. Like, there was Excel sheets which had some test cases, and then the test scenarios, and then different tests. And then there was star team, and different tools out there. There was SQL as well, which I didn't knew around an ABCD around SQL. Then my manager came and told me that it's a software testing that you need to do. You are a kind of, you've been assigned a role as a software auditor, then you need to audit the software now. Now I said, how do I do that? I don't know a single word around it. Then
So basically, you became a software tester by accident.
exactly, and that incident took me, and then I actually gained more interest in this kind of stuff out there. Now my manager, Mr. Basant, was very good man. I still have been in touch with him. He told me a lot of things. He taught me a lot of things around MySQL database, web UI, automation testing, manual testing, what are regression cycles, what is smoke, sanity, and so many lot of terms. Then he offered me one of the book name like software testing, and he told me to like get learning from all this stuff out there. Also go through the Google search and search out for the terms and understand what all things that appear with with reference to the software testing stuff. That way you'll be able to write efficient test cases and do the testing accurately. And then when I started working and doing the testing stuff, it gave me more and more a kind of excitement. Like I was very much interested to learn the other stage. One stage cleared, next stage. One stage cleared, next stage. And then I kept on asking in every 2 3 weeks, बसंत भाई ये हो गया, अभी आगे क्या करना है, व्हाट शुड आई लर्न, कुछ नया दो ना, ये अभी सेम चीज तो रिपीट हो रहा है. देन ही टोल्ड मी दैट यू लर्न अबाउट वेब ऑटोमेशन, यू लर्न अबाउट दिस ऑटोमेशन, हमारे पास ऑटोमेशन टीम है, इसके ऊपर जाके देखो एंड सी व्हाट दे डू. देन when I first visited that team member there, I saw a lot of some ABCD kind of things written on his screen. I was not able to make out like if it was related to some programming language or as such. But I made sure that it is a kind of thing that is being used for the product testing, and it will give some more emphasis around if I learn, and it will give you some more knowledge. Also, it is used for automated testing as well. So this was the kind of things that I myself here, even after getting cleared for the interview, I kept on learning on different things, and thanks to my managers and the peers who offered me help to learn all these aspects in real quick. The next thing that I need to talk about when it comes to interview is listen carefully. Like when you go for an interview, you have lots of questions in your mind and you start giving answers to those questions, right? That might have happened with you as well, Masik. Because when you enter a company, when you enter the cabin, where the interviewer is sitting out there, you have a lot of questions like, what is this interviewer going to ask me? How will I respond, and so on? And then you feel like nervousness comes to your mind in your face as well. And we what we do is we hear half what that person has to say, and in that we again start asking the questions like, I'm sorry, can you please repeat, pardon, and so on. That gives a bad impression with respect to the interviewer as well as towards you. Like your your credits actually gets hampered because of the things that you ask the interviewer to repeat. So I would suggest to listen carefully what the interviewer has to say. Take your time, relax, and then answer. Rather than directly as soon as the interviewer finishes, you jump on and try to answer those questions. Take your time, relax, understand the question, listen carefully what the interviewer has to say, and accordingly frame an answer, and then present it to the interviewer. This way, you will be able to calm down yourself, your nervousness, as well as it will give your body language a confident body language look as well. Your
Yes.
views, Vasik, on this?
Yes, exactly. I have seen like many times interview when the candidate comes for an interview, they are little bit nervous and they are speeding up in their answers. And sometimes they'll listen the interviewer halfway and try to start answering the question. So that gives a bad impression. So what happens is, most of the times interviewer are relaxed. They are not nervous. Okay. So they will just ask very calm questions very slowly, and the candidates in their nervousness will just listen halfway and they will try to answer those questions pretty quickly rather than allowing the interview to complete the questions. So that happens many times. Like the interviewer is asking slowly in their own pace, and the candidate is getting nervous on hearing the questions and uh, tries to come up with some answers quickly.
Yeah, I remember one of my incident when I was taking an interview. That candidate like went on at a rocket speed with answering the question. Like I asked him, like, can you explain about the difference between smoke and sanity? Now this candidate started answering with regards to smoke testing. First he gave me the definition, which was a kind of a bookish thing. That's accepted, no worries, because that is what he has learned. He gave me the answer for smoke testing, sanity testing, regression testing, functional testing, validation, verification, and everything. And then I to tell him, like, please stop. I asked about smoke versus sanity. I didn't ask you about regression and everything. So this
So
is the kind
basically,
of
he wants to stop asking questions. He will just answer all the questions in the one
so
go.
yeah, that is where I learned. By I also was faced this kind of situation earlier, where I was asked a kind of question where, can you tell me about the project that you have worked upon? And then I started narrating five different projects to that interviewer, and he was like, okay, okay, okay. And then I realized that I'm actually making that person bored. So this should not happen. We should answer to the point, and also make sure that we present some kind of examples with regards to the definition that we are giving. So if you are giving a kind of sanity testing example, sanity testing definition, you should mention about the examples as well. That will give you more confidence about, and also you can relate it with the kind of work that you have done past with your experience. And that way you will be able to answer in a very beautiful manner to the interviewer, and chances are he might like your answer and might ask you other questions with regards to that, because he will gain confidence that you know this topic very well if you give a kind of example on those front. And the other part is, I've seen most of the time, like, people normally ignore what is written in their CV. Have you faced any
Hmm.
kind of such candidates in your past?
Yes, yes. Basically, I have seen like they have written like n number of things they know, but when we start asking questions around that, they are not aware about that. And also, what happens, in the topic which you were talking earlier, there was one more point which came into my mind, so I thought I'll share it here.
Yeah, please.
So what happens is, if I remember one instance where I asked candidate, tell me about yourself. Okay. And that person went on and on for 5 minutes. So what happens in that scenario is they are just talking like all the theoretical keywords they know. And what happens as an interviewer, I picked up few points, and his answers became my questions, and
Exactly.
it became his own pitfall,
Yeah.
and he got rejected. So
Correct,
you
correct.
should not go outside, what is asked, and just just keep on adding keywords in your answers, because that keyword will become the question, your next question.
Right,
So
right.
that's the thing.
So I remember one instance in past, like around 5 years back, I appeared for an interview, and that time I was learning Selenium automation basically, and that this person asked me about Selenium WebDriver. I said that the Selenium WebDriver is used for web automation, and it works on different languages. There are different language bindings available for Selenium WebDriver, like Java, JavaScript, Ruby, Python, and so on. And then when I added this stuff, he asked me, like, do you know about Python? I said, "Oh, no, I haven't worked on Python." Do you know about JavaScript? I said, "No, haven't worked on JavaScript." Do you know about Ruby? I said, "No, I haven't worked on Java." Then what language have you worked with? Then I said that I've worked with Java. Then he started working with this, asking me the question related to the Java things, like. So though it's a like kind of language binding, so it uh, my point here to make here is, we should it's not like we should not mention about Java or any other programming language. We should mention that that Selenium WebDriver offers different language bindings like Java, JavaScript, Ruby, Python, but I have worked on Java. So this gives you a better picture, the gives you a better picture to the interviewer, that this person is very much hands-on experience with the Java front, and he knows about the other language binding. Do not express your things like you can learn all those stuff in a single short span of time. Don't make like fake promises on those parts. If you are too much hands-on experience on a single thing, make sure that you mention that things only, and clearly mention that you don't know about these things, but uh, you are keen to learn about it, or you can learn about it, but it would require time. Don't You cannot mention time frame, how much time it will take to learn, because the
Mhm.
concepts and the programming things are very vast. You cannot learn JavaScript or Java in a single short span of 6 months to 1 year. It takes programming concepts to learn. It takes experience as well to learn, right?
Yeah. So one more tip over here for the interviewees who are coming to interview. that you can drive the interview by answering the questions properly and giving the answers what you know. So when if an interviewer picks any points from your answer to ask you questions, you know that beforehand. So that way you can drive the interview end to end. You know that tip normally I follow when I go for interview. Like no, interviewers are not driving my interview. I am driving my own interviews. So this happens. So you can drive the interview yourself. You can answer the questions in such a way that the next question you know what they will ask.
Exactly. Right. Right. Thanks for that tip. And the other point is with regards to that CV. So you were mentioning about like mention only the things that you know very well in the CV. Like, and I have seen people mentioning a lot of skill set. If you see, if you look at the skill set, as well as if you check out for the LinkedIn profile also, I've seen many people mentioning about automation, CI/CD, pipeline, DevOps, blah 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 blah. But when it comes to drilling down on the certain options, they are not able to answer a single query about it. Like, I've seen people mentioning about Playwright, Cypress, and so on. When you ask about like, do you know about Cypress or do you know about Playwright? It would be like, I know, I have done basic things around it. I know how to write a plain test, how to open the website, how to navigate to the website and log it. So I would suggest not to mention all those stuff in your CV. If you know very well, to mention it there. It's good to, it's of good use. But until and unless you know how to write a kind of plain vanilla using those automation tool, it doesn't make any sense to mention that I know this thing but I cannot write about it. This gives you a bad, this
Basically,
makes a
what happens if you write so many skills and you are not able to answer, it is like gives an impression like you the jack of all trade, a master of none, kind
exactly
of thing.
right. Right.
So it's better to give only those skills which are trending in the market. So that way your CV will catch the attention of the interviewers.
Hmm.
Like for example, if I give an example today, if I want to update my CV, I know like hundreds of things, but I'll put Selenium WebDriver, APM, WebDriver IO, REST Assured, all the tools which are trending in the market. I will give those first, and languages which are trending in the market, I'll give those first. For example, Java, JavaScript, TypeScript, I'll give those first. Although I know six, seven languages, but I'll give only three. I will not highlight all the four, all the seven languages. I'll
Hmm.
give only three to four language which I'm perfect in. I know
Exactly.
Ruby, I know Groovy, I know Kotlin, but I'm not well versed with it. I will not give because I know if they ask deep questions in that topic, I won't know.
Yeah. 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 Um, One more thing with regards to CV only, I've seen people like creating around 5 to 7 pages CV. Sometimes people go up beyond 4 pages as well. So that is actually not required. We need to mention only the key points and the key criteria that you know very well, and also mention the project which you have worked on and you know it very well, giving the best tech stack that you have worked on. uh, though it is good to mention the project description and the project details, but do not go details in details, because most of the companies sign the DA, what we call that NDA, non-disclosure agreement. So you cannot disclose all the things that went inside the project to the different the persons who are available in the outside the project. Right. So it's better to mention the tech stack, the technology, the team members that you have worked on, and more especially what you learned from that project. That would be of more importance in giving the confidence that you can develop or you can work on such kind of environments and you can write test cases or you automate such kind of tests for the products. The most important factor which I've seen is people mentioning about their personal details, their personal addresses, age, their marriage relationships, and so on. I think these all things are not at all required. They should be removed. Personal details are not required until and unless it is been asked upon. Things like passport number, religion, your marital status, date of birth, and all the family details and so on. That is not at all required until and unless that is been asked upon. So remove all those things from the CV. Mention the skill set. Mention about what experience that you have. Also, while sharing the CV, while you mention the company name and everything, make sure you mention the company name on the top, then the designation, then the years that you have worked on, and your final experience in a small 3 to 4 lines of blocks. That would give you a better impression around what company you work for, what designation where you on, what is the total tenure in that company, and that's all. If you are pursuing some kind of a degree or a bachelor's in xyz stream, do please do mention that as well. And when it comes to certification, mention only those certification which are actually live around now, because some of the certification come with an expiry date. If that certification is expired, please do not mention those certification, because it doesn't make any sense to put up like expired certification notes in your cv as well. And please do mention like what are you confident in, what all teams or what all tactics that you have worked on. When it comes to explaining around the product strategy or whatever testing things you have worked on, please do not mention the project name, the company name. Please, you can mention the company name, but please don't give inside details around the projects that you have worked on. Like I worked on grpc, it was calling this server. It worked on aws, it was in this region, and so on. This you are actually disclosing the non-disclosure part. We should not disclose all those aspects. Mention about the things that you have worked on, like you created test cases, you created test scenarios, you developed end-to-end test cases, you integrated the test pyramid, you automated that CI/CD pipeline. Those are the things which the interviewer is looking out for. These things should be highlighted in your CV very well. And also please do mention the languages that you know. Like languages in the sense means you know english, you know hindi, you know tamil, you know telugu, and so on. This gives a better impact, like if you can locally talk in the or communicate with the team as well. Okay. The last and the least thing is make it a discussion, not an interrogation. The interviewer asks a XYZ question, you answer it and sit quiet. Then the interviewer asks another question, you sit quiet, you answer, you sit quiet. This should not happen. It should be a discussion. Like you ask something to the interviewer, and then you answer those things. You get an answer. You again ask something which is not making you comfortable, and make yourself comfortable in the seat very well, like it's kind of a discussion that is going on, rather than making it a very interrogation kind of thing. The last thing is, uh, when it comes to, when the interviewer asks, do you have any question, that is a golden opportunity you should make use of. Ask them about the company, the nature of business, what kind of tools they have, what kind of application they need to automate, what are the strategies, test strategies, DevOps strategies, deployment strategies that is been followed upon. This gives you a good insight around what project that you will be working on, what all things that you will get in your plate to work upon. Do make use of such kind of time when it is been offered by the companies or the interviewers out there. Would you like to add something here, Wasik?
We missed out on the coding interviews.
Yeah.
So normally, many companies are asking different types of coding questions.
Hmm.
And some ask algorithmic questions, some ask automation related questions. So normally, what happens is many candidates, I would say, like they fail in the those kind of round because they did not work on the logical part. Now the question arises like, why does the company ask logical problems for automation? So logical problem is asked because of the use candidates understanding whether they are able to understand the logic conversion to code.
Hmm.
Basically, you know the logic, you know how to solve that logic in your mind, but you cannot can you convert that into code? That's the
Yep.
thing. Another reason is whether you know the optimal solution for the coding. You know, writing a test automation script, anybody can write it. Any beginner programmer can also, any beginner engineering student can also write a simple test script. But to write the test script in an optimal way, where the test automation script is running optimally, I mean to say that your scripts are running fast. You know when to use for loop, when to use while loop, and all those understanding you have pretty clearly. So with logical problems, the interviewer comes to know your you know all these kind of traits, coding
Yep.
traits,
Yep.
like clean codes practices you follow, like all these logical problem solving skill, your optimal problem solving skill, all these they come to know. So what you should do is when you are trying to solve the problem, you should not just keep on coding and don't talk. You should talk your thought first and then start coding. Means simultaneously, you are coding and you are talking your thoughts out. So that way, interviewer is engaged. He will not disconnect from the, you know. conversation.
Actual
Because
topic conversation.
yeah, because what happens is that he will give you the question, a coding question, and he will sit quiet. But you should not also sit quiet and code. That way, like half an hour will be just a silent,
Wasted.
silent thing.
A kind of a,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is an
interaction.
opportunity where you can, yeah, that is an opportunity where you can, put your thoughts, give ideas to the interviewer that what your thoughts are about how you are solving that problem, how you are approaching that problem, how you are breaking the problem down into small parts and solving it. So that's a
Exactly.
very important thing.
Yeah, yeah. Any more points that you want to add? Yeah.
Mostly the last part and very important part is the body language. So you, as a candidate, you should be having a very confident body language, and you should be calm. You should not, stamp your feet. You should not rotate on chair like this and give the answers. That gives a pretty, negative impression.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for also sort of thoughts out there. It will definitely help the community, and they will learn new things around it. And thank you so much for watching this video. I would recommend to like, share, and subscribe this channel for more such insightful session. We will be back soon. Wasik
And
Bamla. Yeah, yeah,
one more thing, if anybody has anything, any other topics related to these interview tips, you can put it in the comments. We'll
yeah.
also learn something new.
Sure, sure, sure. And it would be awesome if you can like, share, and subscribe this channel. Also, we will be coming up with more such sessions with Vasik Bamla. Also, Vasik has his own channel, and we are planning to put out a series on Java learning. So please do subscribe to his channel as well. I'll be putting down the links in the description. Please do make check that out, and share it within your network as much as possible, so it reaches to the people who needs help on in this context. Also, you can connect with me or Vasik over LinkedIn as well, and we will be more than happy to help you on if you are facing any difficulties in giving out interviews, or like creating a CV, or any sort of help that you need with regards to QA and software testing. Thank you so much, and bye.